Welcome to the October edition of Games I Want to Play, a monthly series where I review the releases for the coming month and tell you which ones I think are good or interesting to pick up. Last month was seriously packed for every platform you can think of, from shooting through an entire universe of crazy characters to fighting for humanity as an army of vampires to slaying giants on the frosted glaciers of Hoarfrost Reach. It was difficult to decide where to put your time in. While we're still reeling in from the massive amount of releases though, October isn't shy to strut its lineup. Let's go. Having played Destiny 2 when it launched, I was fairly entertained while playing through its campaign, though admittedly it didn't quite land the finale and post-campaign content felt pretty stale for me. What's brought my interest this time around is that this will be the first content Bungie will come up with independently. So, it really makes me wonder if they can bring the magic back from doing Destiny 1, which was really what won their fans over. In fact, they're even featuring a fan favorite location along with all the changes the expansion will bring. We are all very excited to see this game make a return to the moon. So, let's pack our guns, hop onto our spaceships. Whether you enjoy PvP, grinding, or testing your limits with the latest dungeon raid, Destiny 2 is coming with its second wind. This popular tactical shooter has been coming along, which some may say, rather rough. However, this game appears to be committed to something I appreciate, and that would be the fact that headshots seem to do what they're supposed to do, and kill enemies in one hit. Having a bit more Phantom Pain vibe to it, you ride around in a helicopter and get to your destination to ideally handle your objectives in a stealthy manner. However, what stealth means in this game tends to be open to interpretation. Anyway, with this Ghost Recon, it looks like they're aiming to mix RPG elements on a tactical shooter. That may improve the online experience as you'll see a lot of build variety go online. So even if I'm terrible at aiming, there's probably a good way for me to look good while playing this game. I can see that there's a lot of gadgets and machines you can work with, so maybe I can try to be a Ghost Recon Batman. I don't know, we'll see. Lab Zero had graciously given us Skullgirls and its expansion, providing updates and even bringing it onto mobile. I personally was just captured by the steadily smooth animation and burning passion the studio had for fighting games. With such an amazing title under their belt, they now attempt to create an entirely new title under a genre many JRPG fans may be familiar with. Indivisible from the get-go appears to be borrowing a lot of ideas from Suikoden 2 as well as Valkyrie Profile, where you collect your heroes and adjust them for your party of 4 as you see accordingly. Seeing this mix up along with their unique art direction and guaranteed quality of production makes me really want to pick this up. Lab Zero are clearly fans of the same games we have fallen in love with during the earlier gaming eras, and I have complete faith in their passion and capability to bring a very similar, modernized experience to all of us. We've mostly known Game Freak for basically earlier versions of Pokemon, so it's pretty nice to see them continue to try to develop as a studio by venturing into entirely new IPs. Little Town Hero, their latest JRPG, even tries something completely different on the genre, where the hero Axe uses various ideas to combat monsters invading their village. This could involve bringing new people into the fight, or running to different locations within the town to turn the tides of battle into something you can win. I find this to be a very unique idea, and I'm legitimately very curious about how this game plays out and progresses. Trails of Cold Steel has been a series I became a big fan of when it came out on PS Vita. In fact, I would dare say that the first 2 games justified my purchase of the portable console itself. With its colorful cast, anyone is likely to gravitate to maybe 1 or 2 characters and follow their story. Aside from that, this series has proven to be packed with all the nice things you'd want from a JRPG. An interesting and in-depth combat system, an epic journey involving the characters, their lives, the world they live in, and the chain of events that turn their lives upside down and ultimately call them to action. While a lot of it can be said is standard stuff you'd find in a genre, they all layer in together in a well-executed manner. With the 3rd installment coming, I'm pretty excited how they plan to wrap up this epic series, as it appears there'll be quite a time jump this time around, and they're involving a lot of new characters, meaning the ones from the last game may be playing completely different roles this time around. Trails of Cold Steel 3 is something I've been ready for ever since I finished the second game, and man am I happy. So happy that the third one is finally releasing. When this trailer played, I pretty much jumped from my seat when I recognized Captain Price. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is coming back, fellas, and I was really invested in the campaign when it played back then, as if it was one big action movie, and it looks like Activision and Infinity Ward are doing the exact same thing again. The story trailer though makes me a bit scared that they may riddle the gameplay with a lot of cutscenes we may not need, but the stakes and scale they present in it tell me there's much more to look forward to. But aside from that, there's also the multiplayer aspect, and it's really best to think of it as a completely separate game. We're going back to the more twitchy reflexes and quick thinking for combat, but now we're throwing in even more options for your strategies. While you can do your typical 360 no-scope headshots and what have you, there are now new ways of breaking into choke points. Guns appear to perform in a satisfying manner, and now they're dropping in armored suits with miniguns and full-on tanks. Imagining this fast-paced action with things that may make it feel like it's a Battlefield game is a very tempting offer to take. When Outer Worlds was announced, they made a funny jab saying it's being worked on by the people who were behind the better Fallout titles, and it's actually hard to argue against the potential quality of this one. Characters are already very animated, not only visually but also in their writing. The released gameplay footage showed some pretty creative ideas being executed for an RPG shooter, my personal favorite being the shrink ray. It does look like it's making use of a lot of mechanics made popular by older Fallout titles, and interviews with the developers have led us to believe that this is going to be a story driven entirely by the player, having your build or alignment affecting the choices with NPCs, their conversations, and other story elements tells me a lot of people will be having a lot of different experiences, or maybe new game pluses. Anyway, having this space-age civilization where big corporations were never broken up seems like a fun world to explore thanks to the wild, imaginative minds within Obsidian. I'd certainly like to know how they plan to set this world on fire. The second player we all know and love of the Italian plumbers is going to need to do some cleaning, but this time it's not going to be his mansion, this time it's going to be a hotel. That's also a skyscraper. Really big. This time, Nintendo seems to have finally landed their target for the spooky ghost hunting game, as previous titles didn't quite land on Halloween. Luigi's Mansion 3 will surely be a hit for those who are more in favor of a family-friendly kind of experience. What's more is that the new setting makes opportunities for vast varieties of stages to be playable. Now there can be a pool, a studio, a restaurant, maybe a radio station, who knows. On top of that, multiplayer will keep the game fresh by having procedurally generated floors and puzzles to deal with when playing with friends. They've also made a couple new moves for Luigi. One of them allowing him to slam ghosts against the floor to help manage against mobs and bring down the strength of the ghosts. To be honest, I'm not sure how they can go through walls but not floors, but it sure does look fun. While we were expecting a bit of a cooldown considering the avalanche of releases last month, October isn't easing up on us one bit. I myself am fiercely building up a backlog on game reviews to make, which I really should be rushing to do. At the very least, I'd like to have enough freed up to justify buying Trails of Cold Steel 3 and maybe a bunch more. Are you having trouble picking yourself? No? Well, how about another list of upcoming game releases to help? No chance of choice paralysis there either, I'm sure. But honestly, these are all games that others may find good or at least notable, so run through it and maybe you'll see a title you actually want to play yourself. Speaking of, which games are you planning to pick up this month? Is your budget in a bind as well? Do tell us and leave a comment below. If you like this video, show us some love, leave a like and maybe a subscribe. Maybe show others what we do here and share the fun. We do appreciate it when people do. If you'd like to check out our other stuff, you can see more videos off our YouTube channel and all the articles on our site, raymarufiles.com. You can catch us on the usual social media as shown here, where we post some light event coverage and tend to joke around. You can also come talk to us if you'd like, and we would love to hear your feedback. So, that's it for now. Until next time, stay classy.